Hello. Today, Benedictines are marking the feast of St. Gilbert of Sempringham, who was a Benedictine abbot. And you certainly, by reading the rule, you get the idea of just how much the Benedictine monastery depends on the presence of the abbot. And there are lots of very stringent rules for the abbot himself. He's told to remember what he is called, and he's reminded constantly throughout the rule that he's going to be called to account for the souls under his care. Now that's something that works very well in the Benedictine monastery. The Benedictine monks join the monastery under no misapprehensions. The presence of the abbot is the sole authority figure that they need to work to. So, what about outside the monastery? One of the interesting things is those of you who perhaps have watched some of the old classic television series, for example, Downton Abbey or Upstairs, Downstairs, or those sorts of things about life in sort of the turn of the 20th century to about the 1920s, is that you'll have these big households run by the lords and ladies, and they're the upstairs mob, and there's the downstairs mob, headed by butlers and housekeepers, and then there are footmen, under-house parlour-maids, scullery maids. And speaking personally, I have some of my family who were themselves in service, who spent time looking after the gentry. And how in both those series they recognise that the end of this life of structure, of stratification, is limited. They can see the working class people no longer really giving deference to the lords and ladies. And you look round now, and the whole idea of deference is almost anathema to people. They hate it. You look on some blogs, and at the moment some bishop says something remotely traditional. There are a lot of people who are saying that he shouldn't be a bishop, he's a silly fool and things like that. Very little respect given. And one can understand it, because there are lots of bishops who seem to be saying some very, very silly things lately. The idea of deference is gone. And one might say gone for good, and good riddance, some might say. But for other people, the idea of deference, this idea where you recognise in another human being some respect that's due, not by virtue of what they do, but rather who they are. Now, in a Benedictine monastery, the abbot is called to be the abbot. He is the embodiment of Christ in the monastery, the Christ the King. And although he'll have priests, may have priests in the monastery, he might not necessarily be a priest himself, but he might have priests in the monastery who stand as the Alter Christus at Mass. The presence of the abbot is one to which people defer. He is to be called my lord, not in referring to his own lordship, but pointing to the lordship of Christ. seniors in the monastery are to be called nonnus, and juniors are to be called brother. And the juniors are to give place to the seniors at all times, but the seniors are to treat the juniors with love. Throughout the rule, there is this reinforcement of the need for humility, to know one's place, but that place should not be the reason for exploitation. St. Benedict recognises that there is a difference in relationship between junior and senior. But what he does not do is he doesn't say to the senior that he should exploit the junior, nor should the junior disrespect the senior. The relationships may be different, but they are still relationships based on love and on Christian obedience. And that's where we're losing it today. And part of why society seems to be struggling to do anything is because people don't take the idea of authority seriously. Those who have the authority don't use it appropriately, and those who don't have the authority resent those that do. Now, ideally, we look at the pattern, the model, the kingdom of heaven. The name automatically gives you that sense of what we should expect. We should be expecting a kingdom. And you look at the book of Revelation and you see Christ the King. And you see an inner court, and that seems to be the 12 elders and the 4 living creatures. And that seems to be the inner court. And you see that with the Lord and the disciples, how he has around him his mother, his most trusted advisors, and then secondary advisors. There seems to be this sort of, for want of a better word, hierarchy. Not that anyone is loved any less, but they each has a different position, a different relationship within the kingdom of heaven. And humility, this wonderful virtue of humility, means accepting the place that one holds for the love of God. That's what we need to do. We need to start thinking about not showing disrespect to our superiors, accepting their rule, but when we have a say, we should be able to say it. Likewise, those in authority must have at the very heart the concern of the people they represent. So that means that politicians should not be looking out for their own careers as politicians. There shouldn't be no such thing as career politician. The sole purpose of a politician is to represent those whom he has been charged to do so. And that's what the kingdom of heaven is going to be like. It looks as if there will be lords and ladies in heaven, according to how great a faith, how people have lived. Those who have been greatest friends with Christ will be rewarded. There's not going to be a socialism in heaven where everybody is sort of equal. Equal in what's the word? Equal in not equal in outcome. Equal in opportunity is what we should be looking at. Everyone having the same opportunity, but not equality of possession, equality of that sort of standing, I suppose. Everyone is to be loved. And that makes sense, because what that's essentially saying is we can cultivate the awe and wonder. Once more, we see the light of Christ shining most strongly through those who love him best. Through Our Lady, through the great saints, the apostles. And we should venerate, have veneration for them. And those over whom we are set in authority, we need to love them, to respect them, to look for their good. Because God has put us there for his reasons. We need to accept kings once more. We need to learn to see kings. And we need to learn to be kings too. So God bless you. God bless your place in God's society, that it may be one where you find fulfillment, happiness and joy, and that you may know Christ better. God bless you as you live your life in a world where respect seems a bit few and far between. May you find respect where you need it, and God bless you in all your prayers and your life and walk with Christ, which matters most. God bless you, and pray for me, please.